In this video we are going to take a look at one of my favorite models in 9th edition, the Company Champion. First we will look at his datasheet and special abilities. Then we will go through how to specifically make use of him in a Deathwatch army. Lastly, there will be some modeling recommendations and a quick wrap up.
Welcome to SwissHammer, your channel for modeling in Warhammer 40k. My name is Tammer and I will be guiding you through this video.
For 9th edition, the command squad underwent a rework. Basically, the starting point of a command squad are the company veterans, which are an elite choice unless you are including a captain in your list. And then the first squad you include in a detachment does not take up a battlefield role slot at all. By having these company veterans, any further members of the command squad, which are the firstborn apothecary, the company ancient, or the company champion, do not take up a battlefield role slot either. If you have not seen my guide to choosing the command squad yet, the link is in the description. For the purposes of this video, we are going to focus on the company champion. For his 55 points, the company champion has a lot to offer. With weapon skill 2+ and 4 base attacks, his close combat profile is very similar to that of a captain, minus a wound. The company champion is a character as well though, therefore, just like the captain, he can benefit from being protected by other units. The company champion is a close combat oriented character. This is also represented by his weapons. The obligatory bolt pistol and grenades aside, he comes with a mastercrafted power sword, +1 strength, -3 AP, and flat damage of 2, as well as a combat shield. The combat shield works very similar to the more commonly seen storm shield, but it only has a 5+ invul save, in addition to the 1 to armor saving throws. A company champion comes with a bunch of abilities. Angels of Death aside, he is part of the previously mentioned command squad. This means that while he would usually take up an elite slot, if you bring company veterans along, which I absolutely recommend doing, then the company champion doesn't take up a battlefield role slot. While the elite slots are generally more contested in other Space Marine chapters, I would say that this doesn't make much of a difference in the average Deathwatch list, due to kill teams counting as troops. Nevertheless, it is good to have this, for instance, if you plan on running Dreadnought heavy lists, which synergize well with the company champion. More on this later though. One of his unique abilities is Honor or Death. This lets the company champion perform a heroic intervention on steroids, increasing the horizontal range to 6 inches instead of just 3. For those who are well familiar with the paragon of their chapter Warlord trait, there is actually a Black Templar Warlord trait that does precisely that movement increase. However, in case of the company champion, there is also the additional line that the move has to end either closer to the closest enemy model or within engagement range of an enemy character unit. This makes the company champion's built-in ability better than the actual warlord trait you'd have to spend a CP on. All this aside, the company champion also has the martial superiority ability, meaning that at the start of the fight phase, if this model is within engagement range of any enemy character units, it can fight first that phase. While the company champion is already a potent close combat character by default, he can be made even deadlier by upgrading him to the chapter champion. For 15 points, he will get Exquisite Swordsman, which lets him reroll the wound roll for melee attacks against enemy characters. He will also get Skillful Parry, which makes him -1 to hit for melee attacks. The upgrade to the company champion also unlocks a relic, Blade of Triumph, making his sword +3 strength, -3 AP, and flat damage 3. He also gets access to a warlord trait called Martial Exemplar, which gives core or character units within 6 inches of the champion charge rerolls. In general, while I think that all of these upgrades are great, There is a lot of competition for relics, traits, and generally CP in a Deathwatch army, which will very likely result in these resources being spent elsewhere. For his base 55 points and unique abilities, the company champion is a bargain, and this is what I would recommend focusing on. However, there is one upgrade that specifically makes the company champion an excellent pick in a Deathwatch army. It is of course his combat shield, and therefore his ability to take the Dominus Aegis relic. The Dominus Aegis relic with its 5+ symbol bubble is pretty much considered as the auto-include in a lot of Deathwatch lists, and we have covered plenty of them in the past. While this relic is excellent, the Deathwatch has a bit of a unique impasse with bringing it along on their HQs though. The first reason is the Watchmaster and his inflexible war gear, which means that the Chapter Master equivalent is unable to carry this relic, which is a big minus as far as I'm concerned. The second reason is that lieutenants are less attractive in a Deathwatch army due to various other sources of wound rerolls. Combined with several excellent HQ choices, bringing along the Indomitus Lieutenant for the Dominus Aegis locks you out of other useful HQs. This basically means that the relic has to go on the captain, which might not always be what you want. Some people run both captain and watchmaster, but again, it locks you out of other options, and it's pretty points heavy. With all that being said, the company champion being able to carry the relic instead can resolve any such potential issues among the HQs. Furthermore, in a Dreadnought heavy list, having the company champion carry the relic and giving the bubble to the Dreadnoughts means that they can get rerolls through Wisdom of the Ancients if they wanted to, completely freeing up the need for a captain or watchmaster to babysit them. Instead, a potentially better candidate could be a Primaris Tech Marine. All in all, the company champion is a comparably cheap pick for protecting valuable units, be it through carrying the Dominus Aegis relic and or his ability to heroically intervene at an extended range. So, in case you are thinking of bringing one along, how will we go about modeling one? There is of course the company command kit, which might be great if you are looking for some of the other models in that box anyway. What I personally like as an alternative is making use of the Black Templar's Emperor's Champion model. The great part about playing Deathwatch is that we can basically slap a Deathwatch shoulder pad on such a model, make a few additional tweaks, and it will fit perfectly. That aside, generally bits from other veteran kits, or even the Black Shield model contained in the Kill Team Veteran box, can be put to great use for kit bashing a company champion. Due to his fixed loadout, magnetizing is not necessarily required, though what I personally did was to magnetize his combat shield. If he gets the Dominus Aegis relic, I like to visually represent it over just displaying the plain combat shield. Or well, sometimes he also gets the Dominus Aegis, small Deathwatch ready joke right there. To wrap things up, the company champion is an elite choice unless you also bring company veterans along, in which case the company champion can benefit from the command squad ability and basically doesn't take up a battlefield role. With his weapon skill of 2+ and the mastercrafted power sword, the company champion excels at close combat. This is further reinforced by additional abilities, such as heroic intervention at increased range, or fighting first against characters under certain circumstances. For 15 points, the company champion can be upgraded to a chapter champion, which unlocks further abilities, a relic, and a warlord trait. While these are all great options, in a Deathwatch army, competition over relics, traits, and generally CP is already fierce, which most likely means that you will want to keep the company champion at his very affordable default 55 points without the extras. The one upgrade that makes him truly shine in a Deathwatch army though is his ability to carry the Dominus Aegis relic. Due to the Watchmaster's inflexible loadout and the Lieutenant's limited synergy within the Deathwatch, having it on a relatively cheap unit like the company champion is fantastic and goes especially well in Dreadnought heavy lists. Last but not least, while there is an official company command kit with a company champion model included, there are various alternatives for kit bashing your own. My personal favorite is making use of another chapter's unique model, like the Emperor's Champion from the Black Templars. Even though the company champion has a fixed loadout, magnetizing his combat shield can be an option in case you want to make the Dominus Aegis relic stand out more over just the basic shield. So that's it for the company champion in the Deathwatch. Have you guys been using him in 9th edition yet? And how have you played him? Let me know in the comments. I would also like to mention that I have freshly launched the SwissHammer Facebook page, where I will be posting links to my videos as well as articles I find of interest. I do read a lot about the hobby, but not all of it will always end up as its own video. I look forward to seeing you there as well. I do also have a Patreon page. If you like my content, any additional support is greatly appreciated, as it helps me invest into future videos. As always, thank you very much for watching, guys. Your continued support is greatly appreciated. I hope you have been enjoying this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks again, and see you next time.